synthesizers, groove boxes. Visit Patchwerks in Seattle and online at patchwerks.com.
How's it going, everybody? This is Matthew from Patchwerks, back with another episode of Patchwerks Live, the synthesizer show that we put on every Friday at 3 o'clock. Today, I have a medley of hardware devices for us to listen to and play with. Namely, what's in the title of this YouTube stream. We're looking at the Moog Mavis, which I have in this IntelliGel 104 4U case. And then I have that routed into Andrew Huang and Endorphin collaboration GHOST, the multi-effects unit. And then we also have the OP-1 field here. And we're going to take a look at the vocoder, because I love vocoders. They are like one of my favorite devices. Anything that has a vocoder just like gets an immediate upvote from me. Like I just love vocal processing. What I'm doing is I'm using the OP-1 with this USB-C to MIDI converter, and I'm running that into the CV OCD. There's a lot of options out there. You don't have to get a CV OCD. These actually are kind of hard to find at this point, but there's lots that are really easy to find. You could get the Afterlater Audio Yarns, which is a remake of Mutable Instruments version. There's the Hex Inverter Mutant Brain. It's a really great choice. Works just like this one. Basically identical software. When you're programming it, you just plug it right into your computer and go into an HTML page, and you can upload sysex to it. So you can reprogram it to do whatever you want. You could use it as a polyphonic voice with your modular. So these things are really great. There's a whole bunch of options. There's just so many out there. But what I'm doing is I'm taking clock from the OP-1 field, and we're clocking the modular with the OP-1 field. And it's clocking it very well, actually. The caveat is you just have to make sure you hold the stop button and hit the play button at the same time, and you'll get nice clocking. Let me just show you really quick before we start diving into what we have patched and what's so great about these modules. Right now we have this it's a little more pleasant to listen to. It's kind of just a random drum pattern in the OP-1. So one of the things you have to think about when you're doing this is, does your sequencer have start and stop? Okay, well, the ASQ1 is a very affordable and very usable. It's very beginner friendly, I would say. It has some advanced features too with the quantizer and the clock divisions, but for the most part, this is a sequencer that pretty much anybody just getting into Eurorack can just grab and just go. And that's kind of why I like having it up here. Anybody who wants to use our skiff is going to have a pretty easy time sequencing. It offers 2 channels that can do pitch information as well as gate information with the pitch information, and has a quantizer. The thing it doesn't have is that, and why I have to hit play, is that it doesn't have a start and stop input. So that's just something you have to think about when you pick up your sequencer. Do you need that or not? In this case, we don't actually need it because we're not playing a show, we're doing a stream. But if you're playing a show, you might want to have a sequencer, perhaps, that has start and stop. It's not the end of the world if you don't, though. So we are getting clock and reset from CVOCD, and all that information is coming from the OP-1. So I am able to completely control the tempo here from the OP-1. You can see it's at 130 BPM. We have it set to beat match. And the sequence itself is coming from the ASQ1 and going into the Moog Mavis, and the Moog Mavis is one of my favorite Eurorack modules. We do have it with the new Moog knobs that you can get as well, which I think is a really nice update to the Mavis. So you can put that on the DFAM or the Mother 32 or the Subharmonicon as well. Anything that's got the little smaller attenuators, you could put these little Moog knobs on. I did it with my Mavis. This is the shop's Mavis, but I also have one. And it's just really nice. So it feels good. It's a little bit fancier to look at. So I really love the Moog Mavis. I talk about it quite a bit with people who are, when we're talking synthesizers, it gets brought up because I just love the sound of it. And for the price point, to have something that has a keyboard, and you can use this keyboard to play other instruments. So for example, I could take this keyboard out and run it into the Endorphins GHOST and use the comb filter and play the comb filter with this keyboard if I wanted. That's not something I'm going to do right now because it would have to be some intricate patching going on and changing settings over here, which I didn't plan on doing, so I'm not going to. But just as an example, it's nice to have a keyboard in your Eurorack system. So it provides you with that. But not only that, it has a lot of different utility functions like sample and hold. It has an envelope generator that you can borrow from. And it has a VCO out, so if you want to get some audio rate information or if you want to process the Mavis outside of the Moog ladder filter, I don't know why you would want to do that because the filter in the Mavis is just fantastic. It's the Moog filter, the Moog ladder filter is the sound of Moog in my opinion, and it's a perfect sound. So that's actually probably why I like it so much. It's just because the sound of the Mavis alone is just, it's that filter. And the envelope generator is very, very sharp. You know, people really like Maths a lot for a reason. It's an analog, fully analog function generator, and its envelopes are just squeaky clean. They're like, you can get them really short and they're going to cut all the way into your VCA down to 0, which is not something you always get. Sometimes an envelope can not have such fine control. The envelope in this has got a really nice, it's a powerful envelope. It cuts through the mix. It does a great job. It's funny, the longer you play with Eurorack, you start thinking about stuff and you're like, wow, I really liked how that envelope generator sounded, but it's really just sending some voltage, but it's just doing it well. It's cool. It's cool to dive into modular that way. One of the things I do have going on is we are using this little Modbang cable here, and I'm running my VCO into the wavefolder. So this is the first time Moog ever added a wavefolder to one of their analog synthesizers. So let's have a listen to that wavefolder really quick. I'm going to open up this filter for you. We could actually transpose this up. So that's really cool. The timbres that you get from it kind of go into these like bell tones. Kind of sounds like FM when you're doing wavefolding a little bit. It's like the FM that doesn't sound bad at times, you know what I mean? If you're familiar with FM, you get into some really noisy territory. This wavefolder is never going to take you into that noisy territory. It's just going to sound good all the time. Or it'll kind of sound like oscillator sync a little bit. You'll get some higher frequencies mixed in with your signal. And it sounds really good. You can use the wavefolder on both waveforms. So it is a variable waveform. You kind of like can skew from a sawtooth over to a pulse wave, and then you do have pulse width and pulse width modulation. Cheers to Nick Bat for that. And you can choose whether you're using the envelope generator or the LFO to modulate the pulse width modulation. You do have to choose when you're choosing between your envelope generator or your LFO. You have to choose that's going to also be your modulator for your VCO. So that's something to keep in mind. So if you want to make kick drums or something, or if you want to synthesize some drums, you're going to probably use your envelope generator with your VCO. But if you want to have like some nice vibrato, you're going to want to mix it over into the LFO section. But it does offer you all those options, and you can do some molting over here and get some more interesting, complex patching that way. Let me turn this keyboard scale down. Didn't realize I had that turned up. One thing, though, I do wish that the Mavis had on it is a CV input for the wavefolder. You do have to adjust the wavefolding by hand, and a slight missed opportunity by Moog, but still, for the price of getting a Mavis, for getting what you get here, it just seems to be, it's kind of like Platts to me, where Platts is one of those modules where you're just like, It's like a no-brainer in everybody's system. Everybody has a Platts because it just does everything. It sounds fantastic. It's got a plethora of sounds in it, lots of synthesis engines, along with other features like making it so you aren't able to adjust the pitch during a performance. And because it's a digital module, Platts is going to just stay in tune all the time. It's not going to deal with the problems that analog oscillators have to deal with. This is analog, but there's something about Moog's stuff that just stays in tune really well, which is great. And if you need to do some fine-tune adjustments, either to your keyboard scale or your VCO or your oscillator, there is a little jack right here. So you don't have to actually take the module out of your case to adjust that, which is a bonus for somebody like me who's actually going to want to get to that knob pretty often. Because this, even despite that, you don't have a fine-tuned control. So you are playing with it a little bit when you're trying to get the pitch in. So, but like I said, sounds fantastic. So we're taking this and we're going over to Ghost. Ghost got updated, November 11th, I think, to its 2.0 firmware, which ironed out maybe some bugs or something. I didn't notice any bugs when I was using it, but I don't think it added too much to it, but this is a fully fleshed out multi-effects module and it sounds great. And so we have this running in here. It offers reverb, delay, distortion, compression, sidechain, and then you also get a comb filter. So it's quite a bit for one module, and it's made in collaboration with Andrew Huang, who is a fantastic music producer. So he's got some great ideas. We know that. And working with Endorphins, they put out a pretty cool module. So I've really enjoyed the sounds I got from it. It's fully stereo with a stereo compressor and stereo sidechain. It's kind of a unique thing to find in any hardware in general, not just any Eurorack module, but just a stereo compressor with stereo sidechain. There's fewer of them than there is of mono. Let me check. Bang Bubbles Calderwood, classic Calderwood. Good to see you. Good to see everybody hanging out in the chat. Thanks for coming on down for another Friday at Patchwerks. If you're here for the first time, you're not familiar with Patchwerks. Patchwerks is a synthesizer shop in Seattle, Washington, and it's a wonderful place to visit. And we have a beautiful showroom with all of your favorite synthesizers. We have like a Model D downstairs that you can go and play on, and a Prophet 5. So we have like these Jupiter X. We have classics in here you can come and play. It's a really great place to hang out if you're interested in synthesizers or just music production in general. We all are music producers and we love to talk about that. So come on down and just talk our ears off. But let's have a listen to Ghost. And I paired these together on purpose because this already sounds amazing. So when you stack amazing with something that also sounds good, you get double amazing. Isn't that the math for amazing? I think that was what I learned in college. Really fat sawtooth. Let's get something nice and plucky. I'm going to turn up this delay first. Stereo delay. I am clocking this delay from the CVOCD. I'm molting it with the built-in molts that come with this trusty IntelliGel case. We all love our IntelliGel cases. So we can do some divisions. If I take the clock out, we can tap it. Some reverb. So what's interesting about the Ghost, one of its coolest features, I think, is the routing the Ghost offers. So let's talk about the routing real quick. I'm going to pull up the manual because I can't memorize everything, even though I try. Let's see here. Where's my routing section? Here we go. So when this is fully lit, it goes like this. Effects, into distortion, into this filter. Okay? If I hit it again, when it's blank, then it's filter into the effects, so the reverb and delay, into the distortion. And if it's, the half lit. If it's half lit, it goes distortion into filter into effects. So let's listen to all of those. I would love to process the OP-1 into the Ghost. And we're going to talk about the OP-1 too. So we're going to talk about that vocoder because it's awesome. But let's hear some of this stuff. I'm going to... So right now, we're going filter into effects and distortion. So sounds pretty cool. We're half lit, so we're going distortion into filter into effects. Let's turn up the distortion. It's getting meaty. Turn that reverb off. Distortion into this filter. We can take the LFO from the Mavis and control this filter. Where's my cutoff CV? Right here. So now I'm controlling the cutoff from the Mavis. You can hear that quite a bit. There's a lot of resonance. That sounds pretty cool. Ooh, that's nice. Cool. All right. You can hear that distortion amplifying the ground noise. That's something you got to pay attention to when you're using distortion in general. You're always going to find that the ground floor gets brought up with that distortion. Let's see. Okay. So now we have another routing to look at here. Maybe we want let's move over to this sequencer so I don't have to lose the sequence that already works. And go like this. Or not like this, just... Listen how good the Mavis sounds. Now the Ghost is really shining. We're getting to hear that, how nice this delay sounds. Hopefully it's not too loud. that compressor up. Not too much. Not too much. Yeah, that sounds nice. Oh, look at that OP-1 shot. It's beauty. We got the same drum beat in here, so... Let's sound a little crazy for a second. Whoa. Get out of here. Oh, there's the vocoder. Okay, really quick, because we stumbled onto the vocoder. Let's just turn the vocoder to listen to the radio.
220th Street blocking the 2 right lanes.
Uh-oh.
I'm Tiama Fulton with your sports radio.
Can't actually hear that commercial, but we can hear this vocoder.
There's another 122 million right at your beard. Whatever you need, there's that material. Filters, tires, tinker.
All right, let's play with the vocoder real quick.
Motors.com, that's right. It's been a while since we could say that new Ford inventory is better and killing it faster than any time.
So you get 7 waveforms, and then at the very last waveform, I'll switch over to this camera for this. At the very last waveform, it's still even hard to see on there, but there's this. N, which stands for noise. And this is variable, so you can mix in waveform 6 and noise. And you actually, to get, I think, some of the best sounds, or stuff that like really sounds like a voice, you may actually want to, mix in that noise, because typically a vocoder will use a noise source to make up for the lack of vowel sounds, because vocoders really pick up on vowels. So when there's no vowel, so it's like S sounds, like sibilant sounds, vocoders have a really hard time processing sibilant sounds. So noise will just fill that background up, so it kind of just, it just adds onto that. Hopefully that makes sense to you, but noise is really important with vocoders. And they did have that in the OP-1. I think they did an amazing job on this vocoder. Like, my mind is blown on how good this vocoder sounds. So we have these 7 waveforms. S, which I'm assuming is square, actually. Doesn't say in the manual, so I don't know. I'm not sure what the 7 waveforms are. It's mixing between them. And then here we have our formant. So let's... It's an accentuation of nasally sounds and then less nasal sounds. I think it sounds so good. 6 is like a super saw or something. It's like... And then over here, on this gray knob, we can pick between 1 and 7 bands at only, or 0 bands, where it really just sounds like a synthesizer. A strange one, a nice sounding one, that's being driven by the noise of the radio. But the more bands you have, the more it's going to sound like a voice. If you're interested in learning more about vocoders, we have a blog now at Patchwerks, and there is a blog post explaining how a vocoder functions and explaining the vocoder in the OP-1. So I invite you to check that out. That's under blog on the Patchwerks website. And then the last knob is just our dry wet mix. So you can mix in the original signal with the vocoded signal. So I think this is really great because the microphone actually works really well. Let me show you that really quick. Let's go back over to this vocoder. And I'll just move this mic for a second.
Hello. This is Patchwerks saying hello to you. Sounds pretty great. Sounds really great.
I'm just blown away by how good and how well this microphone works on the OP-1 field. I'm really glad they added that. So yeah, that's the vocoder. It's a lot of fun. But let's go back over to the Ghost a little bit and keep messing around with these sounds here. My microphone is falling. There we go. All right. Got this nice dark sound. Let's find another drum kit. This drum kit sounds awesome. Let's just throw in find one of these sequences in the finger sequencer, which always has just a bunch of drum patterns like in it by default. Most of them are really good. They take a long time to program, so it's nice that they come with it. And now the OP-1 field is in stereo samples. That's kind of nice. All right, here we go. Hold record. Didn't mean to do that. Okay. This sounded really good. Like this little combo is pretty nice. I can't see it, unfortunately. The light is blocking the. Let me switch this over here.
Oh, I was just saying, switch to top down.
Oh, yes. The my other producer here Steven's talking to me out of the camera. It's a sneak attack. Now you're just looking at me. All right, here's our top down. Okay, cool. Look at that. This is just a beautiful little setup. I think this sounds, I'm really impressed with the way these drums sound. The stereo sampling on the OP-1 Field is just kind of a mind blower that it does it so well. So you can sample the radio and it will sample it in stereo. Anything you put into it in stereo now. It's just awesome. Listen to that. 32-bit. That distortion. Let's try new routing. The effects are being run through the filter now. Just the dry signal. Let's turn on the comb filter. So when you're using the comb filter, the resonance knob here at 12 o'clock is going to have very little effect. So it's kind of like it's a bipolar knob at this point. So positive comb filtering versus negative comb filtering. This is something you can do on the Octatrack as well, which I love. Sounds really cool to comb filter the reverb. Mild compression. Hear a couple little audio fragments there. That's cool. I don't think some of the performance effects will work too well with us clocking the Eurorack. I didn't know Matt could make music without an Electron box. Maybe he has an OT in his pants. Matthew Vocoder Piecora. Oh, to do some sidechain pumping with the Ghost? Okay. Okay. All right, so it takes a trigger input. We do have a sequencer, so we can do that. Let's check it out. You know, I haven't really played with the sidechain on here, so I just know it does it. I'll use this sequencer here, sequence 1. We'll put it on 4 on the floor, right? Oh, this sequence is longer than I want it to be. Let's go back to hold length 1. There we go. That's actually really dope. Good call. Whoa. Okay. Whoops. Play with that wave folder. That works really well. That stereo compressor's, that's pretty nice. Pretty good for making some nice sidechain ducking sounds. Let me get back to that sequencer that it's on. I think I divided it. There's a lot to keep track of. Let's do something really simple. Let me just kill these drums real quick. Let's go to channel 1, delete this. I know I have... Yeah. We're just throwing down a kick drum. The Genesis drum fill. What's up, Toby? Oh, whoops. I didn't mean to do it over it. Dang it. Actually, I kind of want a different kick drum. classics. I'll take it. Get some minimal techno going on here. Whoa. We did. Yeah. Sounds a little out of tune now. These two together, sidechain pumping, this is like instant techno friendship right here. If you're into making techno, get yourself a Mavis, get yourself an Endorphins Ghost. This is a piece of cake. That's sidechain pumping?
Can I give you a patch request?
What is it?
Can you do some acid sounds? Crank the resonance on the Mavis and distort it in Ghost.
Can you hear that? You can hear me doing something similar to that. Let's see here. Okay. You'd like to get a nice acid sound from the Mavis, you really need to give it a lot of distortion. You just have this set up it the right way. I have the distortion really pumping. There we go. Some nice acid sounds. How's that? Somebody wanted me to turn that comb filter back on. I will do that for you. It's going crazy already. You can hear it. There's some crazy sounds. So when you're doing comb filtering, this is your pitch. You hear that kind of in the background going crazy? Because running through all that distortion. So you want to use this as your volt per octave for your filter when you're doing comb filtering. This is all we're going to do for the next, we're going to do this for a couple hours. I'm just going to, that's why we do a Eurorack, right? Turn that back off. I do love the comb filter. Comb filter has its place for me. Let's get back to that acid. Yes. Okay, I know that there was... I don't know if those hats were exactly what I wanted, but oh, the distortion's real hot. Cool. So yes, I love this pairing. I think this is really cool. It turned out a lot better than I kind of like threw this together and I was like, how is this going to work? You know? And I think that's how it is for most of us who are playing with, producing with Eurorack and have something like outboard gear like an OP-1 is how do I get the OP-1 to interact with my Eurorack? Another thing you could do is actually take the output from your modular and run that right into your OP-1 because it does sample in stereo. So you'll still get all of your effects. And then you can actually record full tracks right into your OP-1. It has 8 different tapes that you can use, 6 minutes a piece. So you can write whole albums on here. And it does sound fantastic. Like for a portable synthesizer, and I know the price point is, you know, it's up there, of course, for what you get. But people have made whole albums on OP-1s, successful artists. So it's a very usable instrument, and I find it extremely inspiring. Just like I do with the Mavis. Like, I play this thing a lot when I go home. I just have a great time with the Mavis. But that's going to be it for us today. I did want to talk about the Mavis, the Endorphins Ghost, and the OP-1 Field, and I believe I did that. This turned out to be a really great stream. Made some cool sounds. I do want to bring up that we do have several events coming up. So let's talk about events real quick. This is an important part of the music scene, especially here in Seattle. But even if you're not here in Seattle, a lot of this stuff will be on YouTube later or streamed. Or you can make your way up here and come down to one of our events. So let me just bring it up. Tomorrow we're having a showroom session with some of our students from our music program that we have here at Patchwerks, along with Mikey 303, who's a just total killer on the Dirty Wave M8 or on any track. I mean, the guy's just a fantastic music producer in general, but will really blow your mind on trackers. His knowledge and his skill set is just, you know, as high up on the tier as it gets. Mikey 303 just does it. So I hope that he hears me say that because you deserve to hear exactly that. And we're so proud to have our students, some of our students perform from our first inaugural program, and then with the performance from those students. Really great time. Come down and check it out. It's completely free here at Patchwerks tomorrow at 3:30 in the showroom. Completely free show. Then we're having a Meet the Instructor on February 4th from 1 to 3 p.m. That's going to be with Crosby, aka Leandrel, another fantastic artist. We actually recorded a video with them very recently, and that will be on YouTube in about a week and a half. So not this Monday, but the following Monday. Expect to see that. It's going to be really great. Live performance and a breakdown of their equipment and how they use it. And it's really cool. Really, really talented artists. So definitely stay tuned to check that out. I am going to be doing an Electron workshop. I know somebody was making a joke in the chat about me not having a piece of Electron gear making music up here. And yeah, I usually do have a piece of Electron gear. I'm very comfortable on Electron. And I'm going to be doing a workshop on the entire workflow on Electron. So if you have no idea how to use a piece of Electron gear, I'm going to take you from zero to being able to make music. Guaranteed, 100%. We'll go from zero to you being able to make some music on that and understanding the functions of the Electron sequencer and kind of the mindset to get into if you want to make music production on any Electron piece of gear. Any of them, because they all have the same sequencer, minus the analog heat, because that doesn't have a sequencer at all. But it does oscillate. It self-oscillates so loud that it could explode your head, because it is a really, really resonant, beautiful sounding analog filter in the analog heat. So we are doing another thing as well. We have a Mystic giveaway. The Mystics is this fantastic desktop FM synthesizer, just a beauty. We have a video of it on our YouTube channel. You should check that out as well. We're doing a giveaway. If you want to get involved in the giveaway, head on to the Patchwerks website. There's a huge banner. Just click on it. You fill in some information, and you'll earn some tickets towards winning the giveaway. We're going to be announcing the winner. The giveaway ends on the 27th. So look forward to that. Tune in back here on the Patchwerks live channel here at 3 o'clock on February 27th to get involved with that. And then lastly, no, that's it. Oh yeah, and lastly, yeah, there's one more event to talk about, and that is the Mod Bang show. That's an event that I put on, same company as these cables right here, and that's going to be at the 4Bs in Fremont. That's at 7 p.m. That'll be EZBOT, Project 32, DJ Weak Acid, and I always forget. And Crystal. I always just want to say Drew's name because I know the artist personally. And Crystal's going to be closing us out. So we're going to have some fantastic hardware electronic music. I'll be doing a huge Electron show, and then we're going to have a bunch of Electron gear, but lots of modular, some really cool, intricate setups.
I'll be doing a Syntact and improvised modular.
Steven, fantastic music producer, and the other producer here at Patchwerks will be doing a improvised Syntact and modular show is what he was just telling me. So I look forward to seeing that. That's going to be at the 4Bs, 7 o'clock on the 31st. So that's a Tuesday at the end of the month. Come on down. It's free. It is 21 and over. So sadly, I do wish that we could get everybody of all ages in there because I want everyone to see the music, but it is 21 and over. So bring your dancing shoes and come on down and hang out. Regardless, this has been another episode of This Week of Patchwerks. I will see you next Friday at 3 o'clock. Take care and stay dry, if you're in Seattle especially.